It's June 2023 and I'm traveling to the South Beach, Oregon State Park. The park is located next to Yaquina Bay near the city of Newport. Right now I'm in Newport, traveling south on US 101, the Coast Highway. I'm about to cross the bay on the Yaquina Bay Bridge. The bridge is an arch bridge and is one of the most recognizable bridges along the Oregon coast. The bridge was constructed in the mid-1930s and was opened for use in 1936. The entrance to South Beach State Park is about 1.5 miles south of the bridge. South Beach is a large campground with 227 RV sites with electrical hookups, 60 tent camping sites, and 27 yurts. Right now I'm driving through the first loop of RV camping sites. When I visited in late June, just before the 4th of July weekend, the campground was full. After parking the van, I set out on foot to visit the beach. It was less than a half mile from my campsite to the beach. Of course, that would vary depending upon where you are in this large campground. The flat trail heads west through a landscape of small trees and shrubs. As you get close to the beach, the trail becomes a boardwalk, which crosses a sandy region. The trail then heads up a big sand dune. After climbing to the top of the sand dune, the reward is a lovely view of a sandy beach and the blue waters of the Pacific Ocean. It's then a matter of walking down the other side of the sand dune to enjoy the beach. Surprisingly, even though there are hundreds of people a short distance away at the campground, there are very few people on the beach. Initially, I was walking south on the beach. I've now returned to the place where I started on the beach and am headed north towards the Yaquina Bay and the South Jetty. You may be able to see the South Jetty here as the dark line at the horizon. The South and North Jetties protect the entrance to Yaquina Bay. There's a broad paved trail called the Jetty Trail that runs north and south nearly the entire length of the park. It's a great way to explore the park on foot or with a bike. Again, surprisingly, I saw very few people on the trail. Just ahead, the Jetty Trail intersects with a trail that heads east-west, going from the campground out to the beach. The trail to the beach is somewhat narrow, and I went a short distance down that trail. I stopped at this point on the beach trail. Looking at the horizon, you can see a low green hill. That's a sand dune which is adjacent to the beach. You can also see where the footpath goes over the sand dune. Returning to the Jetty Trail, I continued heading north, towards the jetty. I've now arrived at the jetty and the entrance to Yaquina Bay. Off in the distance on the right, you can see the arch of the Yaquina Bay Bridge. Initially, I rode my bike out on the jetty towards the ocean. I hoped to be able to ride my bike on the jetty to where it was surrounded by the ocean on both sides. As I biked out on the jetty trail, I began to run into sand that had blown across the trail. The sand was sufficiently deep that it was difficult to go ahead on the bike, so I got off and pushed my bike through the sand. At this point, I could see that the trail ahead was covered with high mounds of sand, so I gave up on the idea of biking further out. The place I reached did make a good spot to watch boats going into and out of Yaquina Bay. I then turned around and headed in the opposite direction, towards the Yaquina Bay Bridge. You can see the bridge more or less straight ahead. The road continues under the Yaquina Bay Bridge. As I emerged from under the bridge, the Rogue Ale brew pub was immediately on my left. The brew pub offers food and a big selection of ales and lagers. On the left side of the brew pub is a path that offers views of the marina and a close-up view of the Yaquina Bay Bridge. I didn't have time to visit it on this trip, but it's worth noting there's a really great destination just around the corner from the brew pub, the Oregon Coast Aquarium. Well, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed visiting Newport, Oregon and South Beach State Park. Thanks for watching.